I don't know whether my connection is poor or what, but we're recording nonetheless on the camera. I know we'll get one camera working. I would like to do this in live stream so that you can ask questions. You have to watch it on YouTube in order to ask questions. Let's see if we're up and working. We are up and working. I don't know whether you can hear me or not. But anyway, I don't, let's see here. Ah, yes. Okay, yeah, it is working. Okay, ask a question here. Ask QUEST. Man. Enter. All right, we're up and going on the site. We're going to go ahead and lay out some parts. I think there's a slight delay because of the connection speed, but that's the way it goes. So the first thing I'm going to do is get the scale ready, like I had before. And we're going to make some measurements and we're going to make some parts. Now, I was going to just continue on building the wing, but I'm going to just make my kit of parts. Now, here's another thing. I need to set the timer. I can only devote 1 hour to this. It's Thanksgiving. You guys can't expect me to work too hard on Thanksgiving. So we have our scale here, and I'm going to mark out some measurements on this. So let's see what we have here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 inches. Is that right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 inches on that scale. So this total is 7 inches. We're going to figure out how long this fuselage is. 7, 14, 14, 21. Let me turn down this other apparatus. 14, 21, 28, and we need to cut a board. 28, 29, 30, 31, and about 31.5 inches long on our fuselage length. So we have a fuselage 31 inches long. We're going to mark that on the plan. And I'm going to draw a pattern for a rudder, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to extrapolate that. We have a rudder that's 7 inches tall. The bottom of the rudder will just extend straight and put a piece on it. So it's 7 inches tall for the rudder. 7 inches. The base of the rudder is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 inches. 5 inches here to this mark. 5, 6. So we have this 5. It's 8, 3 inches on this end. So we want to make this 3.5. Okay, I'm going to show you how I'm going to derive at the rudder just by those numbers. I'm going to take a piece of paper, and we're going to measure out these numbers that I've just put out. This rudder is 7 inches tall. So we're going to go here and here. That's a pretty good sized rudder. I better check that again. Yeah, it's a good thing. 7 inches from the bottom of the fuselage. So from the top of the fuselage, it's 5 inches. So let's go. We're going to put a line on here 5 inches below. So this is the top. Let me move these papers so that you can see. Ah, cool, Glenn. Copy the link to stunt hanger. Copy link to stunt hanger, please. Let them know. Okay, so we have 5 inches from here to there, and we have 5 inches on the bottom according to this. So we're going to make a mark 5 inches in this direction. Now you're looking at this and you're thinking, well, how in the heck is he going to get a rudder out of that? Trust me, it will definitely come out of there. Okay, so this is the bottom, 5 inches, and at the top, our rudder tip is 1 inch. So it's quite a huge taper. So top of our rudder, we're going to make it a 1 inch mark here and here. Now what I've got here on this paper are just some static marks. 1, 2, this is the top of the fuselage, and then 5 inches. Now they're just basic marks and they really don't mean much, but it allows for some artistic license. So what I normally do is I will take, this will work perfect, I will take a piece of material, and we're going to make our first line. Now I'm holding the bottoms of this paper parallel to each other, or 90 degrees from the center. So the bottom of this paper should be in a straight line. It is. And we're going to take this leading edge of the rudder and we're going to put it on our plan here, on our small plan, and draw a line. Now that's the leading edge of the rudder, and we're going to do the same thing for the trailing edge. Now we have to have 5 inches from that, so we're going to measure 5 inches from that. And this line leans way forward. So now we have our basic rudder shape. And this bottom line is parallel. to the bottom there. And you'll think, well, how the heck can that work? It's just a triangle. It will be absolutely correct when I'm done here. So now the top line. The top line, I'm going to make, this is at 5 inches here. So we're going to have to put another piece of paper here. And what I do is just kind of eyeball the curve. And we don't want it too dangly, so what are we going to do here? So now we have to measure the bottom of this. Let me see how many's watching. I can't, I don't know how many's in the control room here. So let's see here, stun hanger. We want to go to analytics. Or no, I want to, yeah, analytics. Live streaming. Events. One. So we only have 2 online here, but that's okay. Anyway, so now we have to measure we have our rudder shape, believe it or not already. We have to measure the tail post at the fuselage, and that is 2 inches. So it was too far down, 2 inches there. Oh, I made it right on the money. So after you get that, we'll get a pair of scissors and we'll cut out the rudder shapes. These are the patterns for the rudder, and we'll lay out the elevator stabilizer. Well, I'm glad you guys are enjoying this. It only took me all day to figure out how to get the link up and running. I did it about 10 times last night and could not figure it out. I need to be 12 years old. I don't know why these engineers make everything so complicated. It's beyond me. See, as a mechanic, I want to make things as easy as possible. So here we have our rudder. We're lagging a little bit latency-wise, but that's all right. And we're going to cut out the You do not need a full set of plans to build an airplane. They're just... I have built so many airplanes off of napkins. Just make a little drawing on a napkin and say, well, this is what I want. And then you know the numbers that work, like, you know, nose and tail moments that have worked for you in the past. I showed you how to do the airfoil with your shoe. And as per showing you that the airfoil was within a pencil line of an SV11, it's not rocket science. So we have the other camera rolling, saving it to tape. So now we're going to get our fuselage. It's relatively straight. We said we have to have a 31-inch piece. It's 64 grams. We need a 31-inch piece. We're going to make that mark. Remember, always use a square. I will have this this laid out, I don't know, before the hour's up it should be laid out. And then tomorrow, I'm going to try to do a video tomorrow. I have some projects that I've got going. Here's our rib set. We're going to need the rib set for the pattern for wing cutout. So I haven't done any work on it, as I told you. So now we're back to measuring again, using the scale on the plans. Oh, I already have it written down. It's a 9-inch nose, 9-inch nose moment. I must have done that at an earlier date. Nine-inch nose, 14.5-inch tail. Oh, I know why we changed the rib. Here we go. So we're going to have to drop down off the thrust line. The datum line is here. I'm going to need that scale anyway. The datum line is there. The thrust line drops off the datum line 1 inch. That's our thrust line. And the wing line drops down. Let's make a mark here so I can see what's going on. The wing center line off the datum line drops down 1.5 inches. So it drops another 1/2 inch. So we're going to make a mark there, 1.5 inches. That kind of puts it right in the center of the now it's kind of important to keep these lines straight, and before I cut any wood, I'm going to make sure it is straight, so I don't need to make sure. So we're going to make the rib outlet, or rib hole. Now remember, you're going to have to add a 1/16 of an inch to this, so, and a 1/4 back here, because there's going to be a 1/4 inch trailing edge. So there we have our basic rib opening in the fuselage. I stated that it was 14.5 inches on the tail, but I'm going to double check. We have 7. It's a good thing I double checked, because the center of that is 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 inches. 13 inches. That first line I made was incorrect. Off by 3/8 of an inch. So this is the notch for our tail. Our stabilizer will be notched into this right here. So now we need to, because it appears that it's only approximately 1/2 inch out from the end. I'm going to change that. I'm going to make it 1 inch out from that line crosses, because I don't believe that 1/2 inch is enough. So our fuselage will be about 1/2 inch longer than the original, which is fine. So now we're going to make our fuselage cut. We want to put this up, and you just need to eyeball it. Close enough. We'll sand this to shape. And so there we have it, and it comes at an angle approximately like that. And you're thinking, well, what the heck am I doing? Well, it will be so close when I'm done with this, you won't believe it. And this piece here is the canopy, and this piece here is the chin that goes up here. And I'll show you what I'm talking about. It appears that it has a 1 3/4 spinner, whatever it is. It might be a 2 inch. No, I was right. 1 3/4 spinner. So we need 7/8 on each side of that line. 1/2. That's a 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Not a whole lot of turn in the top, but that's okay. But there's a massive amount of turn down here. Okay, we've got our fuselage laid out. We can cut it. Now, I'm showing this in hopes I can't be. The stream is kind of lagging behind, so I don't know exactly if you can see this. But this is the thrust line. Drop down a 1/2 inch from that, so it's 1.5 inches there. We need the wing center line. The measurements were extrapolated from the plans. The angles were extrapolated. Yes, I can see that now. Were extrapolated from the 8.5 by 11 drawing. So it's not a big deal. So the next act will be to cut this fuselage, and we're going to make the nose chine. Glenn said that that it was cool, and he lives in the middle of nowhere. Well, it wouldn't matter if you lived in the middle of nowhere anyway. There's a lot of people out there that really don't have a grip on how certain things are done, and I'm hoping that I can help them along. I'm going to try to do a live feed every day, even when the Control Line Craftsman class is over. This first live feed is open to the public. Your next live feed will be for the build-off. Building class will be available in the building class section, and will be a private feed. So you're going to need to be a member of Control Line Craftsman in order to see the next live feed for the build-off. Okay, first piece of wood cut. Remember, the finish starts with the first piece of wood cut, and we cut those first pieces back when we cut the ribs. So you got to make sure that you're doing your job right. So now this piece here is not, I mean, it's not perfectly straight. So you get your long sanding bar and straighten out the cut that you just made. And when I'm done with this, I'm looking for more questions. So if you got questions, go ahead and ask them, because I can see the questions posted. So now this nose chine, the chin or whatever you want to call it, needs to be added. So we're going to add that now. And I'll cut the turn in it. I probably should have built an RD1 even without the plans. But I needed, I mean I can do that, but I needed something for the guys who are not familiar with building by eye to be able to see. So now I have that in the way, and I just normally take a, you know, a round large object or whatever and use it as a circle pattern. The nice thing about building scratch and building without plans is nobody can say, well, that ain't right. Yeah, it is. It's exactly right. I probably should move this camera over to the other side, but let me zoom this camera in. If I can find my controller, which I cannot. There it is. Let's pull this in a little bit. Not a matter of what I'm doing, it's a matter of what are these parts looking like. So let's zoom in here. So here we have a fuselage. It's starting to take shape. Cut the nose off here. And in a second we'll have a rudder. So in 30 minutes we already have a fuselage. I will lay out the motor mounts as well. You know what? I'm going to change this a little bit. Just a little. I'm going to put the bottom half of this rudder on the bottom of this fuselage. I got to glue this back on. So instead of cutting that angle, I'm going to dip down. That'll make it a little stronger, and we'll cut this rudder off on that line. It doesn't show on the construction whether that's correct or not, but it will help in the offset. So I've changed the design of my forward-thinking plan, and I'm going to cut this piece off here. So we just added just a little nibbing on the bottom there. Let me buzz this off on the sander. So what I did was I added this small piece on the bottom. And that just makes it a little easier for cutting the other pieces and not wasting wood. So that little tang that I added there probably saved a foot of balsa wood, 1/4 inch, because I would have had to cut it twice. So now I take the plan here and we're going to cut that line off, because well, matter of fact, we're going to need I did order enough, good. Okay, so I have five 1/4 inches. We're going to need 2 for flaps and 2 for elevator stabilizer and 1 for wing spars. I'm going to show you a trick tomorrow on wing spars. But I'm going to take the lightest piece. That's 34. That's 32. 32. 32. 33. So 34 is going to be the outboard flap, 33 is going to be the inboard flap, so we'll mark those down. Inboard, outboard. These 2 pieces are spoken for. Now we have 3 pieces of 32nd. Let's see, is there going to be enough here? Let's see, a little bit of material management. Make that measurement again. Maybe we'll get 2 flaps out of 1 piece. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to measure this root. What is the root? One, 2, no, of course not. And what is the end here? Now we will get 2 pieces out of 1. So we're going to get 2 flaps out of 1 sheet according to these measurements. And the reason I know that is the big end is 2.5 and the little end is 1 inch. So by turning them in reverse, you'll get 1 out of the inside and 1 on the outside, if that makes sense. Because we have to end up with enough. So we're going to take this 34. This 34 ounce is going to be 34 is going to be spars. S-P-A-R. That's the 3 spar trailing edge and leading edges will come out of that. And the 33 will be flaps, and 1 piece of 32 will be the rudder and elevator. Okay, so now I got it figured out. Got any more questions? I only saw 1 person put a post up there. You guys can chat back and forth if you want. only stand about an hour of silence up here. It's hard for me to think about even talking for an hour. Yeah, that's you always want to think about material management. You don't want to waste a whole lot of wood. This stuff is just too expensive. So hopefully this gives you guys an idea of how you can scratch build from an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. I'll guarantee that if you had the plans, it would be the same airplane. Less, of course, I did change the rib design because I didn't like that. But that's no big deal. Try to cut with the grain. You don't want to really, there's going to be times when you have to cut against the grain. But man, it's a whole lot easier cutting with the grain than it is against it. And if you're going to cut against it, we're going to use a saw. Show you what I mean here in a second. So obviously the bottom we have to cut against the grain, and it's going to be difficult. The thing to do is there's my brush. And of course the saw is not where it's supposed to be. I got a bandsaw, but I really like to show you guys how to do things with hand tools. Here we go. The thing with saws is you just put it on the line, put your fingers like you were a chef, and that's what you're going to use to hold that blade. It's as simple as that. Now this is not a straight cut, it's a curved cut, but what I'm going to do is cut it and then sand the last 1/8 of an inch. With a sanding block. So we had, a couple of spots there, so what? Okay. I'm just going to tack this here. 1 drop CA. And we're going to have to finish the rudder pattern and cut the front half of the rudder out. Now, I kind of missed there that we got the rudder and the vertical fin grain running the same direction. That probably wasn't the wisest decision. But that's alright, because of the tang on the bottom of the fuselage. It should not warp because it will be glued from the top all the way to the bottom of the rudder to the fuselage. So that means nothing. But it would have been nice to have the grain running in an opposite direction for such a small area. But we'll see what happens when I dope it. If it doesn't do anything, then we're in there. Remember, we're going to try to cut with the grain. There's our rudder. Have to glue it and sand it. Now we want to make sure that the bottom mounting surface is straight, so just take a sanding block and sand away. Here you have the basic rudder layout, and anybody that knows what an Excalibur looks like will go, yep, that's it. So, there you have the basic rudder. Let me zoom out on that camera. I'm playing to the live stream. I will, when the live stream is over, I will upload the video from the live stream, take my second camera, and try to make it into a decent movie. That's going to be nice. So now we need a cockpit. Well, how are we going to get, I only have one piece of 1/2 inch. Well, the cockpit is the wing opening. I don't know if that's what they did, but that's what I'm going to do. So we're going to cut the wing cutout. Remember, this opening cut it right on the line, because you're going to have to sand it open 1/16 of an inch all the way around, because we have to add for the sheeting on the wing. Or if you have, some people are really touchy about that, if you want to make a plug for the for this and add the 1/16, you can cut and trim that to the correct length as well. I think tomorrow I'll get the motor out and make the center cuts and do the mounting for the motor, and we won't probably build the wing until next week, because that entails me cleaning off all this bench so I can jig up the wing, and I'm still working on those paint jobs. Matter of fact, when I'm done here in a bit, I'm going to have to go right back on the paint jobs. When our time is up here, I'm going to give you my Thunderbolt update. I tried to do it on the first stream last night, but trust me, last night I was pulling what's left of my hair out. Even before this stream started, I could not get it to run. These computer engineers have made it so difficult, so ridiculously, overly complicated. You know, it's ridiculous. Okay. So now we need a canopy out of that mess. Let's see where it mounts. It mounts us right at the leading edge. So you think, well, let's just cut it on the center line. I don't think so. We're going to cut it at a different angle, but I'm not going to cut it. I'm going to sand it. I'm going to turn my back from the camera, and I'll turn this camera to the sanding. And I'm just going to take this and put it on the belt sander. Come back over here. Sorry guys, it took me a little bit there, but here's our canopy that we just cut out of the rib area. By the looks of the plan, it's right even Mine isn't quite as tall as theirs. They must have had a second piece. So what we can do is we could add a little bit of this. We're going to add a piece to the canopy. Something I don't normally do, but I want this. I'm giving this away to the beginner winner at the Nationals. I'd like for it to be halfway respectable. And it looks like it leans back a little farther. Let me just belt sand this real quick. Yeah, that's better. Make sure it's on there straight, and it's not, so I gotta straighten that up on the sander. Yep, that's it. No questions, huh? I guess nobody must be watching. I'm just going to tack this on there so we get an idea what it's going to look like. It's going to have to be removed, but that's okay, so you guys get an idea how long it takes. Within an hour we have a basic shape of what our airplane should look like. I think I need to lean this canopy back a little bit more. That goes here. Yeah, that should be fine. Need to straighten this up. In case you guys missed it, what I was showing there is yeah, I cut my canopy out of the root cutout on the fuselage. Well, that piece of wood wasn't quite big enough. But I took a piece from the tail cutoff and just added to it. And that's fine. Because when we paint it, you won't be able to see nothing. I'm going to go ahead and glue that down permanently now because it's the right shape. Man, that CA smells bad. I was watching a video that I did a while back about balsa allergy, that I was having a reaction to the wood. Well, that's unreal, but it's the way it is. I have a little OS32. I have a lot of projects going. I have a little OS32. I'm going to make myself a profile for Alan Brickhouse's contest. Well, we're almost to the end of the hour. Here you have it. We made our fuselage and rudder in an hour. Tomorrow I will work on the motor mounts, which I don't know what happened to them. Here they are. We're going to drop the motor mounts in. I'm probably not going to go with all that, but we'll cut the slots for the motor mounts, making sure they're on the same plane as the datum. Make up the doublers. And probably a cheek cowl. I should be able to do those three things tomorrow. Then, come next week, I'm going to clean off the bench and we're going to put our wing together. Now, I know that I said the next step was going to be hollowing these pieces out. Our hour's over. Hollowing these pieces out, but well, that just didn't happen. So I wanted, the hour's over. I want to show you my Thunderbolt project. I get to work on this about maybe 10 minutes a day. So this is where this is at. It's really light. I have the motor mounted up now. And the dead man switch cut out in it. We have the cowl on it mounted. It's mounted different than what I was going to do. It's two screws, one inside here and one here. I know that my video did not go through yesterday in the live stream, so I'm going to show you what I got from Tower Hobby. My Christmas present from Tower Hobby was an 8th scale Thunderbolt bubble top canopy. Now I'm not sure I can use this because it's the 8th scale Thunderbolt RC must have been huge, because this is a wider canopy. But what this will allow me to do is carve a plug, a facsimile, can't hardly talk, facsimile of what it's supposed to look like. Or I could possibly pull this together. I'm not sure. I might have to heat it in the oven and pull it together. But I definitely want it the right shape. And they gave me some other things too, which was a canopy detail, cockpit detail. But there's the nose. Like I said, I don't get to work on this much. I'm working on other people's stuff. So I got to get everybody else's stuff done so I can work on my stuff. The life of a model airplane builder, I guess. Anyway, it's been fun. Thanks for joining me on the live stream. And I'll try to get it going again tomorrow night. And until I see you at the field, tight lines, fair winds. Keep watching Control Line Craftsman. Oh, be sure to like, subscribe, and share this link. Have a good day, guys.